Before we dive into today's episode, if you're a coach who wants a simple roadmap to turn your coaching vision into a life-first business, make sure you grab a copy of my free Spacious Business Blueprint. It's a one-page planning tool, plus a short training that walks you through the 7 core foundations that create steady client flow. So if things have been feeling scattered or heavier than you know they should, this is going to help you step back, look at the big picture, and see exactly what needs your focus right now. The link to grab your copy is in the show notes. All right, let's get into today's episode. Your ideal client and your ideal buyer can actually be 2 completely different people. So if you've ever thought, I know who my ideal client is, so why aren't more people buying? Then this episode is for you, because the problem might not be that you're talking to the wrong person, but that you're talking to someone who's interested instead of the person who's ready. Someone can absolutely have the problem you solve and want the transformation that you offer. And they can even enjoy your content, download your free stuff, turn up to your free events, but they still might not be ready to invest their time, money, and energy in solving that problem. So today I'm going to walk you through 5 questions that will help you identify the people who aren't just your ideal client, but your ideal buyer. Because once you understand the difference, your messaging can become much clearer, your marketing becomes more effective, and attracting clients will become easier. Welcome to the Life First Business Design Podcast, where ambitious, purpose-led coaches and creatives trade hustle and burnout for simplicity, freedom, and work that truly lights them up. I'm Leonie, an ex-architect turned business owner, strategist, and coach on a mission to help other women create success on their own terms. Each week, we'll be diving into the strategies, the systems, and the mindset shifts that help you simplify, increase profitability, attract better fit clients, and create more freedom and fulfillment, so you can build a business that supports your life, not consumes it. If your goal is to build something that feels spacious, joyful, and actually fun, you're in the right place. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome to today's episode, where we're going to be talking about 5 key questions to help you identify who your ideal buyer is. Your ideal client, who's the person who's ready to invest. And most coaches do build their messaging around the things that you're taught to build messaging around, the problems, the desires, the transformation, and none of that is wrong, but it can shift very slightly when you're talking to the person who's ready now, and that can make all the difference in terms of how easy you're finding it to see results from those efforts, from that content, from the showing up, from the marketing, and all the work that goes into attracting clients. So when you understand what makes someone ready to buy, it changes everything. Goes into your content, it goes into how you craft your offers, the objections that you need to overcome and cover in your sales conversations. And you'll attract people who are already looking for help rather than feeling like you're constantly having to convince people that they need help. So the goal isn't to appeal to every single person in that demographic who has that problem. It's to become the obvious choice for the people who are ready to solve it and are looking for your particular solution. And those problem-aware clients are still going to pay attention to what you're saying because it is relevant to them, but it's subtly going to make big shifts in your messaging. So question 1 to ask yourself, who is most motivated within your ideal client demographic to solve this problem right now? Because as I said, not everyone experiencing one problem is equally motivated. So ask yourself what's happening in their life that makes this urgent, makes solving this problem urgent. Maybe there's something that's changed recently in their life. Maybe there's something that's going to happen in their life that's giving them this sort of internal urgency and deadline to solve the problem. So why now? Why now for this person? So for example, if you're a health coach and you focus on weight loss, and you work with women. So there's lots of women who have the goal of losing weight, but there's people who are much more motivated. So it might be they've had some kind of recent diagnosis, they've got some kind of an event coming up, something's happened in their life, maybe they're postpartum, or maybe they're going to be getting married next year. So there are people within your demographic who have more urgency to act now. So have a think about that and think about what might be going on for them, and think about the clients that you have worked with. What reasons did they have to take action now versus waiting or consuming more information or putting off taking action? So then question 2, what has already convinced them that this is worth investing in. So that might be the difference between them thinking I can solve this on my own or investing in one-to-one coaching or high-ticket coaching to solve this problem. So maybe they've already tried solving it. Maybe they've been trying to solve it for a long time. They've spent money already. They've researched different solutions. They've done all the consuming of information and realizing that actually I can't solve this on my own, or it's much harder, or it's not really working. So they've got to that point where they realize something's got to change. I need to take a different course of action. So this is when we'd say they're in that consideration phase. They're deciding what's my next step, what's my next investment, and who do I trust? Who am I looking to for this support? So they are much further along that client decision journey or funnel. They're in that consideration phase. So how can you talk to the person who's in that phase? What are they thinking? What are they going through? What are the decisions that they're making? And then question 3, what outcome is your ready to buy client really looking for? So you probably already know, don't sell coaching, sell the transformation, sell the outcome on the other side. So getting really clear on what that looks like for that ideal client. What are they hoping life looks like afterwards? And how can you create your marketing and your offer around that specific outcome they're looking for on the other side? So if we go back to that example of a health coach, if she was helping someone who's recently had a diagnosis or they're experiencing certain symptoms, then life on the other side might be losing weight so that they're able to manage those symptoms. But if it's someone who's planning for their wedding, then it might be feeling confident on her wedding day. It's a totally different outcome, even though the process and the losing weight is the same, but the outcome and what life looks like on the other side is very different. So this is why the nuance of who that ideal client is makes so much difference to them, what you're talking about, to be the outcome on the other side. Then question 4, how do they want to get there? Because yes, they're buying the outcome, but they're also going to be thinking about what's it going to take for me to get there. So that's your offer. That's the pathway that you're giving them through the offer. So you really want to ask yourself, what are they looking for in that process? Are they looking for it to be simple, fast, flexible, personalized? Are they looking for accountability? Are they looking for less overwhelm? Are they looking for more structure? So when you're clear on who that ideal client is, then you can really start to think, how can I tailor this offer for them, or tailor your coaching for them? If they're already busy and overwhelmed, you don't want to be selling them a 27-step framework. It needs to be one clear plan. And you can think about all the ways that you can make that as appealing as possible and think about what they're actually looking for in that process. If you're working direct with your clients, it's that relationship and what are they looking for in that relationship? Maybe it's a really sensitive subject, or it's working through something deep and traumatic. So that's going to be a completely different relationship. And someone in that situation is going to be looking for empathy and support and a gentle approach versus someone who's maybe wanting to build confidence to step on stage and they've got an event coming up in 3 months' time and they've got this deadline in mind, but they want it to be fun. They want it to be enjoyable. They want it to be motivating and inspiring. So very different people are going to be looking for very different things. So thinking about that person and what they're looking for in the process is very helpful. Then question 5, what would make them immediately think, this coach gets me? So this is really going to come into your messaging, the language that's going to stop them scrolling. So rather than using phrases that might sound professional and sound inspiring, it's really getting into the language that they're using themselves, and that's going to help so much. So what phrases are they using? What things are they saying? What's going through their mind at 2 a.m. when they're thinking about this problem? What frustrations are they secretly tired of? Or what are they telling themselves that they're looking for? So if they're this ready to buy client, they're already thinking, I want to solve this problem. I'm ready to do it. What are the things in their head that are saying, I need to make sure X, Y, Z, or I need to look for something that's going to help me do it, however they're looking for. So those other 4 questions are going to then lead into how you craft this messaging and tie those things into your messaging. So those things are really going to help you tighten how you're talking to that ideal client, how you're describing your offer, or even putting your offer together. And often this can be the next stage of your business. Maybe you've got to a point where you've worked with a number of clients and you can see that some of them are getting the better results. Some of them are much more committed to the process. They're taking much more action. And maybe you can see there's other people who you're working with who drop off, or they're not taking the action. They're not as committed. So you really want to be working with those great clients who get the results and do the work. So how you can talk to that person. So when you're going through these questions, if you've got that data from the clients you've already worked with, start thinking what was different about those people, what made them more likely to show up, what was going on for them, what type of person were they. So give that some consideration while you're going through these 5 questions, and that can be really helpful as well. So if your content isn't converting as well as you'd like, then don't automatically just think create more of the same content. Go back, ask these 5 questions, and then start weaving it into your messaging and your offers and your content. And don't feel the urge to completely overhaul everything. Just start weaving it in and seeing, am I getting better results now? Is it a shorter process to take people from, oh, I'm interested, to yes, I'm buying? So that's what you really want to be looking for, is if you can shorten that process, still be attracting in those people who are more in the early stages, the problem-aware phases, but really talking to that ready-to-buy client is going to make things speed along for you and ensure that you're attracting those people who you love working with, who get results, who therefore go on to rave about you and refer you to other people and become much more known for the specific solution that you solve. So I hope that's been really helpful. If it's highlighted, maybe there's a couple of gaps in your positioning and you'd love to take it further, make sure you've downloaded the Spacious Business Blueprint, because that walks you through all the 7 foundations that will help you build your life first business in a more spacious and streamlined way. And it will help you identify where there's some opportunities right now, where there might be some gaps in your strategy. So you'll find the link to that in the show notes. And yeah, if you found this episode helpful, I'd be so grateful. Share it with another coach or creative who you know would find it helpful. Make sure you're hitting follow so you never miss another episode. And I'd be so grateful if you've got a few seconds spare and you're enjoying this show to leave a rating and a review, because it really helps other business owners to discover it. And then one last question I want to leave you with is, when you're thinking about that ideal buyer and you've been through this work to determine them, think about, would they recognize themselves in my marketing? And if not, how can I dial it in even more to make it stand out to that person? So that might be the difference between saying something quite broad, like I help midlife women reduce stress, versus I help ambitious women in high pressure jobs who are lying awake at 2 a.m. thinking about work finally switch off until they're in the office the next day. So really specific things, what's going on for them, what's happening in their life, and how can you talk to that exact person? So thank you for tuning in, and I hope this has been really helpful. Please send me a DM. Let me know your biggest takeaways. I always love to hear from the listeners, and I'll catch you again next week. Take care.
Before you go, if you're looking for more clarity in your business, maybe you want more clients or better fit clients, more profit, or simply a more sustainable way to grow, and you'd love a fresh set of eyes on your strategy, each month I offer a small number of business strategy deep dives that are for coaches and creatives who want more freedom, more fulfillment, and more ease in their business. Together, we'll look at what's working, what's not, and where your biggest opportunities lie, so you can walk away with a clear 90-day plan. You can stop circling, stop second guessing, and instead know exactly where to focus next. If that sounds like exactly what you need, you can find all the details and book your session through the link in the show notes. Until next time, take care. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you here again next week.